The introverted INFJ personality type has the reputation of choosing solitude and alone time over parties and socializing, and usually, this reputation is usually driven by preference rather than fear. Yet, when it comes to an INFJ who has been sheltered from the world around them, that's not always the case. Welcome back, psychos! Today, we're going to be talking about the consequences of being considered a sheltered INFJ. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as to click the notification bell so that you never miss a video. Number 1. Naiveness in relationships. Empathetic and generous. Most INFJs can relate to the stereotype that people with this personality type tend to be slightly naive, mostly because of their willingness to give people the benefit of the doubt. INFJs rarely judge a book by its cover and are open to connecting with all walks of life, providing their intuition doesn't interfere. However, for this intuition and judgment to work efficiently, the INFJ must have a repertoire of understandings to compare their scenario to, aka well-attuned extroverted feeling and sensing functions. And, unfortunately, the sheltered INFJ misses out on a lot of these lessons. Since INFJs use outer influences and observed scenarios that they witness through other humans in order to gain a lot of their understanding, the sheltered INFJ may approach relationships solely with the inner drive to help, fix, and empathize with the individual. With these requirements and no boundaries or lessons, the naive INFJ nature gets blown way out of proportion, especially when it has to do with human relationships and connection. Number 2. Difficulty exercising their social gifts. INFJs are considered one of the more extroverted of the 8 introverted MBTI types, or at least they're usually equipped with the ability to be social should they want to. They have an intriguing interest in human behavior and love to pick at people's brains whom they feel drawn to. However, when it comes to an INFJ who has had a considerably sheltered upbringing, the ability and want to communicate with others isn't all that strong. In fact, a key sign of really any personality type who has been sheltered in childhood is serious social anxieties, and rightfully so. According to the reputable child cognitive programs at brainbalancecenters.com, from ages 0 to 11 years old, children require a variety of social, emotional, and behavioral experiences for true cognitive diversity in their later years. And so, if the INFJ is protected from the realities of the world and the at times harshness of social interactions in these developing years, socializing can be seen as a seriously dreaded, yet unavoidable task. This takes the power away from the INFJ's natural personable gifts by creating intense fear of situations in which they may be judged negatively. Or even worse, create an unshakable worry about embarrassing or humiliating themselves in front of other people. Number 3. Deep struggles with content independence. If you can relate to every INFJ trait, yet you panic when alone, you may have been subjected to a sheltered upbringing. This lone wolf personality type undoubtedly marches to the beat of their own drum, even as a small child. They crave their independence and much rather try things on their own than to have things done for them. However, being brought up by an overly protective parent or strictly confined expectations, INFJs can grow up with the understanding that doing things on their own is wrong in some way. This instills a fear of the unknown and an unwillingness to go out and do things on their own when the time comes. The sheltered INFJ may have uncharacteristic traits of codependency, such as needing the approval of others before making a decision, lacking trust in their own judgments, extreme fear of abandonment, and even taking on the responsibility for the actions of others. In adulthood, the once sheltered INFJ feels the draining effects of not taking time for themselves, matched with the fear of doing so, a sticky situation that can easily spiral into deep mental health struggles. Number 4. Reluctance to experience life. Without independence, it's difficult to experience life on your own terms, which is usually the INFJ's goal. Similar to the fear of being on their own, the normally brave INFJ, who has been sheltered from life, may get stuck in a cycle of known habits that they aren't willing to separate themselves from in fear of getting hurt. Their natural need for harmony within their surroundings becomes extremely structured to the point of feeling unshakable panic should something interfere with this comfort zone. It's as if the sheltered INFJ is not only afraid to take chances in life that could negatively affect them, but they also avoid the ones that could positively affect them because nothing is safer than remaining in their own little bubble. Besides the fact that they don't want to be a disappointment or burden to others, they also don't want to disrupt their own peace of mind either. This lack of experience in life only becomes more detrimental as they get older, one of the reasons being number 5. Extreme fiction-based imagination. Every INFJ is wired with a brilliant imagination that no life circumstance can take away from them. However, the difference between the imagination of a sheltered INFJ and an INFJ that was able to exercise their curiosity lies within what that imagination is inherently filled with. As we mentioned previously, the INFJ utilizes their external functions of feeling and sensing in order to observe and absorb their outer world. They learn and experience new material in their day-to-day life that they later use to expand their complex imaginative possibilities and projections. However, if this personality type is kept from utilizing these functions in the real world, they will choose to turn to other means of understanding life, such as through books and movies. Instead of using real-life experiences to fuel their fascinations, they're stuck resorting to fairy tale concepts, overly ideal expectations, and a far-fetched view of what dreams to chase in life. Now, that's not to say that a good fictional concept or two doesn't have its place in the average INFJ mind, but when that's all they have to fall back on, the real world can seem seriously intimidating. Not only that, but for the INFJ who already has slightly idealistic tendencies, having a close-minded imagination filled with fiction-based ideals makes things like relationships, job choices, and overall life decisions completely unrealistic. Number 6, their understanding of the real world comes with painful realizations. Greed, despair, death, inequality. The list goes on. Life is filled with its uncontrollable and unavoidable evilness that no human can turn a blind eye to for long. And for the INFJ, these realizations usually become apparent very early in life. Stereotypically known for their old souls and deep thought processes, INFJs have a natural inkling towards finding the truth about otherwise accepted concepts. Luckily, even for the most sheltered INFJ personality type, their deep inner drive to understand the world and the people in it is nearly impossible to avoid. Sooner or later, their thirst for knowledge will become so persistent that they will need to step outside of their comfort zone eventually. Life's unanswered questions and theories are at the heart of the INFJ's curiosities, and if they don't start their journey of realization early, certain truths can hit them like a ton of bricks later in life. However, even with these truths, some INFJs would rather stay in denial, burying their findings in their minds to avoid a temporary downward mental spiral. On the bright side of things, once an INFJ begins this journey into the discovery of truth, they also begin the journey of self-actualization. Number 7, uncharacteristically rebellious. INFJs are rebellious when it comes to following their morals and going against the grain. However, normally, their rebellion is rooted in rash decisions. Depending on the type of sheltering an INFJ has encountered, this rebellious nature can come in waves of impulsivity, resulting in self-disappointments. When the reluctance to experience life becomes apparent, some INFJs may take serious measures in hopes of experiencing all the things they feel they've been held back from. In an attempt to find themselves, It's as if they skip the training wheel phase of life entirely, going from avoiding anything that may disappoint their caretakers to no longer caring about their judgments at all, nor the repercussions of their actions. Similar to the painful realizations that sheltered INFJs come to discover, these life experiences can either set them on the road to truly understanding their likes and dislikes, or spiraling down the wrong path entirely. This becomes especially dangerous should they seek these experiences out of spite or in the form of payback to those who have kept them hidden from the real world. Sure, everyone has their regrettable moments, but for the INFJ who holds such high standards for themselves, matched by deeply set morals, these regrettable moments probably don't feel as liberating as they expected them to. Well, that's it for today, Psychos. Before you go, share your experience growing up in the comments below. Would you consider yourself sheltered to some degree? Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more Psycho videos.